I'm Don Moores. Welcome to Montgomery Week in Review. Literary Explorers is a Montgomery County Public Libraries program that encourages children to read more books. Tony Spearman-Leach, Montgomery Community Media, one of the leaders of this here station, is here to tell us about what Montgomery Community MCM is doing to join forces with libraries in supporting this very valuable program. Montgomery History has a new exhibit in Rockville called Boom! Montgomery County in the 1950s. Liz Lay, curator of the exhibit, is here to tell us all about it. The Beacon, our wonderful, wonderful monthly publication here in the DC area. Its November issue features articles about health, which, as in every edition, these health articles are interesting and helpful. Stuart Rosenthal, editor and publisher of the newspaper, has some of the details of these stories. 'Tis the season to eat and drink and be merry and joyful. It's also the season to exercise rather than just eat and stay not doing any exercise. Henry Hailstock is here to remind us of the fact that we've got to get moving and keep moving, even as we're chomping on the turkey. Tony, welcome back.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
I feel like I should be saying to you, thank you for inviting us to your home for our show each and every time here at MCM.
Mikasa Sukasa.
Hey, listen, this Literary Explorers program sounds exciting, and what you're doing, what MCM is doing to help make it all even more meaningful and develop skills within these students. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on in this partnership?
You and I both know that for some kids, it's really difficult to get them to just become avid readers.
And let me ask you this. Isn't that so weird? I loved reading, and you loved reading.
I loved reading.
Who are these kids?
You know, these are kids sometimes, we have to remember that here in Montgomery County, 40% of the county doesn't have English as their first language.
Sure.
So some students are new to the language. For others, it's, I don't want to read a book when I have a video game. I don't want to read a book when I can watch the latest thing on Amazon Prime or Hulu. And so what we're trying to do is get kids' English proficiency and their love of language back up.
So the love of language part of that is you're going to give them a chance to talk about what they read and on TV. I mean, tell me more about this.
Our wonderful Montgomery County Public Librarians are going to go in and have the kids select their books, and then they will be able to, after reading the book, become a star. They will become the Kevin McCarthy. They will become the Siskel and Ebert. They will do their book review and learn to record it on the iPhones that they have at the libraries.
Okay.
And you'll be able to check those out. And they will do their book review alone or with a friend or whatever their format is. And then we will put that on the Montgomery County Public Library website, on MCM's website, on Montgomery County Public Schools website, and on our television channels. So we're going to turn our little readers into superstars.
There'll actually be a TV show about this?
What we're going to
That's
do
very
is stitch
exciting.
them together, in some cases, into magazine shows,
Uh-huh.
so that the kids can sit there and say, you know, I read Harry Potter and I thought it, whatever.
What ages are these kids that you're focusing on?
We are focusing on middle school up through high school, but the big focus is on middle school, and there's a reason for that. There is declining patronage in the libraries for middle school students.
Wow.
And that corresponds to declining reading. And so we need to do something innovative to get these kids to read.
How are you recruiting them? I mean, how would the children know about it and want to be a part of it?
I'm so glad to hear you say that.
So can I say, so am I.
The Montgomery County Public Libraries has been doing a very aggressive recruiting tool with the Montgomery County Public Schools. If you go on their website right now, you will actually see the Literary Explorers program, and there's a kickoff starting in November. This will be a 12-month year program, so this is going to go throughout the year. And the kids are being asked to come in and be the first cohort to select their books, and then they will initially learn from the librarians. The librarians have been trained on how to teach them to record their own work, and this is going to be awesome.
You're building up a historical sort of timeline here, aren't you? Encapsulating a time in history.
Absolutely. What we're doing is we are taking all of the things that the kids love, all the information they love.
Right.
We're trying to get them to go to the libraries and say, wow, this is a place for adventure.
As it is. You know, I think about grandparents and parents as well. You know, nothing like having that access to then spread, and I can see it on Facebook posts. Look at little Junior, little Juniette, whatever that were,
Come on, Don. We know how kids love Facebook posts, and they share, and they tweet, and they retweet. What's really
But
neat
so do their parents,
and
even
so do
worse. Their parents are worse.
And what's neat about this is that parents and aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters are going to have the chance to say, look at what my niece or nephew did. Look at what my kid did.
Right.
If your family's off in California and you're here in Maryland, you'll be able to take that post
That positive reinforcement.
and share that out,
Sure.
and get that little envy out there, and say, 1, my kid read a book. 2, they talked about the book. 3, my kid's a star. So this is the big big deal. This is the time.
You want a new generation of television viewers too, it looks like, not just book readers.
And you and I both know that from your newspaper, people read these on mobile devices, on their cell phones. And so we're putting it on the television, but we want you to be able to access it on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. And that's what we're all excited about.
Because you're going with the younger generation, because I still haven't tweeted or bird or whatever you call it. Because my son does it, and he sends out stuff about my grandchild and everything else. And the only way I basically know about it is they tell me about it.
Yep.
But everyone else knows about it and seen it and talks about my granddaughter, what she did and what she's doing and everything else. So the younger generation is coming out.
Got 20 seconds left.
And you know what? We know that you'll be bragging about your kid when they review that book, because there's no way you're not going to join up and say, that's mine, that's mine.
Tony, final word. You've been heavy. I know you're one of the board, you're one of the organizers for the upcoming county executive ball, the celebration of the arts.
Right.
5 seconds, is that going to be something everybody wants to go to?
Everyone has to remember that this is Ike and Catherine Leggett's last executive ball. And the tradition is that the executive ball is the inaugural event for the county executive. So that's why we call this "And the Beat Goes On," because this will be the point at which we prepare to pass the torch from one person to the next. So the intent is that this will be the largest executive ball that we have had, and also we want you all to know that Catherine and Ike will do their final dance for Montgomery County.
Okay, the final dance. Well, unfortunately, that's our final dance with
Absolutely.
your segment. We look forward to dancing with you next time when you're on
Thank
the show.
you.
Thanks, Tony. Liz, welcome back.
Thank you. It's good to be back.
Boom!
No one says it better.
Tell us about Boom.
It's going to be, or it is, an exhibition on the 1950s. And historical societies, we think so much in terms of founding fathers or the Civil War, but it was really important to us to tell the history of Montgomery County. 1950s was a time we doubled in population, we became national in our reach in many ways, and there's some marvelous stories to tell in the 1950s.
I think about the 1950s in Montgomery County as the government was still the old boy network. We're about 6 years from 1966 when things crumbled, when things left the old boys, and we started getting a really progressive county council in, of looking at racial issues. It was the 1950s was a time on the negative side where not too much different from South Africa in terms of these townships of where blacks were blue lined or red, whatever the term is, redlined, and schools segregated, and yet at the same time we got the hot shops, we got this we've got these different societies are developing in parallel.
Yes.
To then come together in the 60s and 70s, but what an interesting time.
And we've tried to balance those stories too. It's very easy, I think, sometimes to think about the happy days we talked about earlier, the 1950s. Happy days worked best if you were a white male during the 1950s. There were a lot of other stories.
I'm going to give you a little secret.
Yeah.
It's worked really well, white males, throughout the history of the United States. It wasn't just the 50s.
Yeah.
I'm just letting you know.
But the 50s was the beginning of the change. And as you're talking about, the government changed in the 60s,
Right.
but that happened because of the things that were set in motion in the 1950s. And desegregation of the county schools happened during that time period. There were important things that were happening nationally that affected Montgomery County. The Cold War had a very big impact
Sure.
on Montgomery County. We were within the blast zone, the 20-mile blast zone of what we considered.
Under those desks.
Yes, yes.
That's a
We
horns going
have
up.
a video of the duck and cover, and video that a child heard
Mad
in
Magazine
school.
didn't have the best one. I think, didn't Mad Magazine come out and the duck and cover was place your head between your legs,
Oh yeah.
go as far, and kiss your butt behind, goodbye or whatever. But that,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
It's I found an interesting thing when I was doing research about that is, so often people say, well, what could that really do, in a nuclear fallout? And scientists really believed that they didn't know what to expect with an H bomb being so much more powerful than an atomic bomb that we'd used before, so we had no idea. But human nature is, if you see a flash or a loud explosion, your instinct is to go toward it. And what they wanted to do is to teach people to duck and cover and not expose themselves to falling glass or buildings or things like that they didn't know what would happen, but at least that would help at some level.
I remember a number of things in the 50s, unfortunately, as a child. I remember that most of my classmates did not know what happened outside of their community, outside of their neighborhood. And certainly we didn't go beyond, then it wasn't really the full beltway, but we didn't go beyond that. And we didn't know what was happening. And we really, some of us really did not know that we were really sheltered, because we had a lot of things in our community, the theaters, the cafes, the restaurants that we can go to within our own community. It's not until we got older that we start realizing what we have been missing. It certainly hit me in the face when I went to college and went to school in the Midwest.
Right.
And literally hit in the face. So it's a lot of change there. So the 50s wasn't as glamorous as it could be, but I didn't know because I was sheltered. Because I was in my own community.
Liz, so where is this exhibit exactly?
It's at the Bell Dawson House, which is
About a minute to go.
the West Montgomery Avenue, just 2 blocks from the courthouse.
Okay.
Beautiful. It's a beautiful building.
It
And
is
yeah.
beautiful.
And it's free to come?
No, it's not free. It's $7 for adults, $5 for children, and we're open Thursday through Sunday from noon to 4. And we also still have our 19th century medical museum, so Dr. Stone Street, and we have a lot of things going on in the exhibit. We have
But no surgeries.
no surgeries.
that
No,
museum.
I've had to stop that. But we do have a hot shot booth that is not an artifact. So one of our sponsors is Marriott, and because when they found out that we were going to focus on that kind of thing, it was good for us. And so people can sit in the booth and take pictures
And enjoy themselves. And that's what it's all about, Montgomery
right.
History. Thank you so much, Liz. Look forward to having you back again
Thank
in
you.
the next exhibit. We'll be right back after these messages.
The Mighty Mo.
The Mighty Mo.
The Mighty Mo. And we're back. Stuart, I love the segments with you.
Thank you, Don.
I come away learning so much. I don't know how you access all these great stories, but
We
you guys
scour
do.
the universe to find good stories every month.
Health stories. You got some cancer stories, which
Yes,
are really interesting.
yeah, some cutting-edge research. if I may
Literally,
use the term.
huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when the surgeon is looking for a cancer and they're cutting it out, they want to make sure they get everything, but they don't want to take too much, right? So there's this concept of the margin. They sort of want to take a little bit extra to make sure that they've gotten all the cells. Well, you never quite know unless you have the pathologist take a look at the slides of what you've taken. And it takes time, keeps people under anesthesia and whatnot. So they developed a probe, a little like pen-like device that they can touch it to the edge of the wound, and they can detect almost immediately through a spectrometer whether there are cancer cells in there or not.
That's amazing.
And they've just done it in testing. They've tested about 250 surgeries, and it's been 96% effective at determining.
Now, you're familiar with Mohs surgery?
Yes, for
So-
skin cancer.
for skin cancers
Right,
and
it's
others. And so
one little shave at a time.
doing the thing, because the
Right.
same idea,
Right.
and then going with, but the pathology is right there, you're not
Right.
under,
Right.
but back and forth as I understand. So this
Right.
is fantastic.
Yeah, the last thing you want is, someone having surgery is to be closed up and then told, oh no, you have to come back
Right.
because you didn't get
Much
it
different
all.
than,
Oh,
the,
yeah.
than the skin.
Yeah, exactly.
You had another cancer.
Yes, blood cancer. I mean, not blood cancer, but using blood as a liquid biopsy to look for cancer.
Right.
The same researcher who discovered that fetal DNA is in the mother's blood, and so enabled us to have much better testing, prenatal testing that doesn't involve affecting the fetus, has now been working towards finding DNA of cancer cells in the blood from tumors that they shed. And in other words, being able to do a screening
Right.
to see if someone needs further research to see if they're going to have cancer or not from just a blood test, simple blood test. And that's looking very successful too in some cases. They've tested it on a cancer that's very common in a certain population, and they did a screening of this population, and using this device, they uncovered 71% early cancer, would usually be more like 20% that they caught early. So that was a big improvement too.
Let me ask you, do you know if any of these techniques are being done here in our area?
They are still experimental. I mean, these are
Okay.
studies that have just come out. They've been published now. They've been in
I don't-
reputable journals, and now it has to
Stuart,
be
I don't think-
So how far
expanded.
along?
You know.
How far along do you think it will
I
be?
wish I could say. I don't know. It's probably maybe these days, maybe a year or two, the way things are going. But
Right.
I'm not a doctor. I don't really know.
One of the things I think Tony's comment and Henry's follow-up means is that to be on the cutting edge of so many of these different things, you really need to read the Beacon. Because you guys are. I mean, you're ahead. So many things
love
that I
these
see later on.
things,
All right.
Another one
Also,
along the same lines, if I can talk about.
that's what I'm looking at.
Okay,
Yeah.
vegetative state.
Yeah.
We've heard about people who are in vegetative state, they're in a coma, whatever, they're not responsive. This fellow, poor guy, at the age of 20, he was in a car accident. He's now 35. He's been 15 years in a vegetative state with no awareness or reaction at all. They tried an experiment on him, which they haven't done before, I understand. They stimulated his vagus nerve. The vagus nerve is a very important nerve. It goes from the abdomen to the heart and the brain, and it has to do with blood pressure regulation and other kinds of breathing and things. I don't know why they decided to do this, but they decided to
They
stimulate
took a
it.
gamble on the Vegas. That's what they did.
Good job. That's beautiful done. Yeah. So they after 30 days of stimulating this nerve, the guy was actually responsive. They would walk across the room and he would follow and they played one of his favorite songs from when he was 20, and he started crying and smiling. I mean, tremendous, clear evidence of being aware that he was in there all this time, but they hadn't been able to bring him out.
What made
So
them think about?
I don't know where they must have used this in other studies before. I'm told a lot of studies have not discovered any research. They've not had any improvement, but this one was really special. I think it's in France. So.
Have they discovered anything from when he wakes from a vegetative state that he understood anything during this time period?
He doesn't speak.
Oh,
He's
okay.
not able to speak. He's had a lot of brain damage. But I mean, they were able to see that he could react. He could, and when someone came close to his face, his eyes widened, and he could follow voice across. They said, "Turn your head," and he would turn his head. So, I mean, he's clearly there's more there than people had thought for all these last 15 years.
You know,
So
usually
I don't know
most-
if they can use that to make him actually come out altogether. Or
About a
not.
minute
It takes
left.
time.
Well, usually people that are in that stage, it will take them a while to relearn.
Right.
How-
Right.
how-
That's right.
how to
It just
talk,
has some hope, I think, there, which is
Yeah.
interesting.
All right, one final thing, the rise of the stock market.
Yes, we've had all these
and all this
series
stuff.
of
So it's put
records.
all sorts of retirement accounts out of whack, right?
Yes, people have found that their stock component of their portfolio has grown tremendously. And if you are an older person in particular and you're trying to make sure that some of your money is in cash and some of your money is in bonds, you don't be too heavy in stocks, because when and if the market crashes, and it will someday,
Which it will.
you know,
Goes up and down.
how serious is that going to affect your retirement?
At the time you
nest
need that
egg?
money.
Right, exactly.
Right.
So people need to be rebalancing, need to take the money out of the stock market that's going up and putting it into some of the alternatives that are not so high flying, but at the same time less likely to be seriously damaged in a recession. So that's important, and we describe how to do that.
I can guarantee you read the Beacon and you will not be seriously damaged in any way. You'll be much better off. Thank you for these stories. Look forward to
Thank you,
next
Doc.
month.
Yes.
More stories.
Thanks.
I think we're done, right? Oh, whoa. No. Henry, welcome back.
Thank you, I think.
Anything to get, you know, I like you, Henry. And your segments help us understand some of the commonsensical things that we kind of miss out on in all these little intellectual worlds where we're so busy. Today we're talking about something that ought to be common sense, and that's staying healthy even while we're enjoying the holidays.
Well, you know, for me, it starts with Halloween, with the candy left over and all, and it goes all the way through to New Year's. But people don't realize, you know, the excuses I hear, I don't have enough time, you know, I'm always busy, I can't really stop for a while and exercise. Other people say that, you know, got to go to the gym, and when am I going to find time? You don't really have to do all that, and people don't realize that. You know, one of the things that I learned when I was playing are different ways to exercise, because I needed to keep myself in shape, because everyone knows I have a bad habit of eating too much, and that's true, and I love my sweets.
And the time when you were playing, this idea of year-round staying in shape was not the
No,
thing. I mean,
no,
this
it really wasn't.
you had the season and you had the off season.
Yes.
And that long preseason was there basically to get the pounds off of the bellies and
Yes.
get people back in shape. Their smoke, whatever. So it's a whole
Now,
different
now
world.
it's a different world. It's 24/7 for these athletes now. They have to eat, sleep, and really understand what they need to do and work out.
That's
and work
true
on
for
their-
all of us, really. If we want to
It
stay
really-
healthy, we need
you
to
know,
be on top of
you,
it.
see, that's why I say the beacon is
Yeah.
outside of because it's true. You have to be on it. If you want to live the right life, you really have to. And it's easy. I mean, you could be exercising right now like I am. Because, for instance, I'm tightening up my abdomen. And I'm doing it, I'm doing it for, like 12 seconds. And doing that for 12 seconds is like one sit-up. And you keep doing that. Tightening up your legs while you're sitting down. Just tightening up the muscles. You'll feel the difference. And you do that for 12 seconds and let it go. You'll be surprised. Just little things like that. And if you go home, a simple thing, if you have a 2-level house and you got to go up steps, go up the steps 10 times.
Yeah.
But you know, during the holidays, we're going to have Thanksgiving, and then we're going to
Yes.
do the holiday shopping.
Yes.
I'm going to take my car and I'm going to drive it around to find that.
You're
that
just like
spot, right?
you're just like a
Come
friend of
on.
mine. I swear. His wife says, "Let me out," at the front, because he'll go around I don't know for how long till he finds a parking space where he can get out and walk right to the front door. It's crazy. Park back there and walk. I play golf with him. I walk. He goes around on a cart. I mean, a simple 9-hole course. Where
He
you're just
drives
trying
up
to
on
get
the
extra-
green, right next to the hole. And
Close to it.
does the guinea putt.
Close to it. I'm serious. You don't realize the little things you can do to stay in shape, so to speak, especially during the holidays.
But you're saying the right thing is the little things, because
Yes.
if you have a lifestyle of this, where you're saying you walk, or when you think about 20 minutes, it's basically average speed of walking is about 3 miles an hour or
Yeah.
so, 4 miles an hour. So in 20 minutes, you can be walking a mile. Well, think about what most of us, 20 minutes, it's, that's between commercials.
In a day.
And you're, yeah, that's
In
it.
a day.
Do a
Just
day.
20 minutes in a day. Just walk somewhere. You'll be surprised. You'll be surprised.
Or walk to the Bill Dawson house. And
That's right.
Exactly right.
That's it. It's just amazing how people, it's called isometrics.
Right.
If you do that, if you
Right.
relieving stress, a little stress, tension, pressing like that, that's exercise. Because it exercises your chest muscles, it exercises your arm muscles and everything else. Just simple things will get you in shape.
And
believe it or
doesn't
not.
help you then also help assist with 2 other things. One is appetite control, because you're exercising,
Yes.
you're not thinking about eating. And the second thing is you exercise, your body is getting tired, and you're going to sleep better.
Oh, absolutely.
So what you're talking
Absolutely.
about
And see,
gets
it
it
ties,
all.
all ties in. And probably next month I'll be talking about how people think just a little sleep will help. You need at least 7 hours of sleep, and I'll talk about that in the next section. But these little things will help you rest, will help your nervous system, will help your digestive system, and above all, while you're eating all that, make sure you drink plenty of water. I'm not going to tell you to drink a gallon like I do a day, but just drink water. It'll help your complexion, helps your digestive system, and you'll be surprised what it will do for you in the long run.
Let
Now,
me
I'm
ask
not
you
just saying doing it over the holidays. I'm saying doing this, period.
30
Stay
seconds
in
left.
safe
30
shape
seconds
you were
left.
in. It takes more than just this kind of thing, right? You really put some
Well,
time in every day, right?
I can't ask people to do what I do.
Yeah, but just tell us what you do.
I walk 3 to 5 miles a day because I can't run anymore because my
15 seconds.
knee surgery. I do weight training, different body types each week. I also do the isometrics and everything else, and basically drink the water.
Yeah.
So I do all that.
Sounds good.
Body by Henry Hailstock.
Yeah.
I think isn't that the new MCM? Isn't that the
Yeah.
show coming up that you guys are going to be able to do?
If we can look as good as he looks, oh my God, we'll take that show.
Let me just say, all 4 of you look absolutely wonderful, and I want to thank you all for being with me today. I want to thank all of you in the viewing audience for joining us for this week's edition of Montgomery Week in Review. I'm Don Moores, inviting you to join us next week at this very same time.
All of us, try to do that instant gratification, but you got to do it over the long run. It's not going to happen in a month or 2 months or 3.